Peter Sweden here. So I was recently doxed. If you don't know what the word doxing means, it basically means putting out someone's private information, their address, their name, where they live, and so on. Now, I've never been completely anonymous. I've put photos and pictures and videos of myself out there, but I've never gone by my real name. I've been going by my nickname, Peter Sweden. Not my real name, which is Peter Emanuelsson. But this lovely organization called Hope Not Hate is the name. Hope Not Hate is the name of the organization, but I think the fitting name is more Hate Not Hope. Anyway, these guys put out where I live, my name, and what's even worse is they put out my family's private information as well. So not only that I go after people that don't like their political opinions, but I also go after their family as well, which I think is really low. I've written a whole article about my own article about their article about me, and you can find it in the link here below. And basically, these guys have been lobbying really hard against people who were in Sicily here. As you know, I went to a trip in Sicily, and they've been lobbying. This Hope Not Hate organization has been lobbying really hard against everyone that was down in Sicily. Lawrence Sutton's Patreon account, they managed to lobby them, Patreon, so that they shut down Lawrence Sutton's Patreon account. They have been lobbying really hard against the Defend Europe mission, so that they basically couldn't board anywhere in Europe on their Sea Star ship. They had to go to Turkish territory to be able to board their Sea Star ship, to go to the Libyan coast to report on what the NGOs are doing down there at sea. So they've been lobbying really hard, and I was in Sicily as well, so they went after me as well. Now, who is this guy that wrote this article about me on Hate Not Hope? Well, it's a guy called Morrigan is the guy who wrote the article. He is a Swedish freelance journalist. Hate Not Hope is Hope Not Hate, everything. It's an English organization. And their leader is actually a Labour MP. So we actually have someone from who's in Parliament who's actually leading this and doing this kind of dirty work, which is really not good at all. But they use a Swedish journalist Morrigan who works for a Swedish left-wing organization called Expo. Who's Expo? Well, they are basically Antifa. But they have close connections with the Swedish government and the mainstream media in Sweden, because that's how things work in Sweden. Expo is basically Antifa, so he works for a Antifa media organization basically in Sweden, this guy. He's also been working at some mainstream media as well, called Aftonbladet. But who is this guy? Well, here's the thing. This guy is a Bonnier. Now, if you don't know, in Sweden there's a family called Bonnier. It's a Jewish family. They own about 80% of all mainstream media in Sweden. I'm not kidding you. It's a monopoly in Sweden. They own about 80% of all mainstream media in Sweden. It's insane. I mean, how can you get neutral, unbiased information when one family owns basically all the media in Sweden? So this guy is actually part of that family, and his grandfather is Lucas Bonnier. He is not alive anymore, but his grandfather Lucas Bonnier, he was the king basically. He was the media king in Sweden. He was the guy who owned the entire thing. So this guy is really part of the elite of the elite. I mean, this is the 1% of the 1%, this guy's family. I mean, this is the kind of Rothschilds of Sweden. This is the top guys in Sweden who has been going after me, doxing me, which is, when you know that you're doing something right when you have the elite of the elite in Sweden going after you. When you have the Rothschilds of Sweden going after you, you know you're doing something right. When they are writing a smear article about you, revealing your private information, you know you're doing something right. And this guy's sister as well, she's also in the Green Party in Sweden, which is in coalition government at the moment with the Socialist Party. And one interesting thing is some of this information that this guy Morgan Fincher has gotten about me as well could only have come from the Swedish government itself. There's some information that only the Swedish government has, and some of this information that he has published is only held by the Swedish government. So this guy is actually, well, contacted his buddies in the Swedish government because his mother actually works for the Swedish government. Yeah, he's just contacted his buddies at the Swedish government and gotten out some information about me. You see how this works. Really, really corrupt in Sweden. And you should see his mother. Yeah, she's been writing. She's actually been writing children's books, indoctrinating children with Marxism. And I mean, that's how it works. These communist Marxists, they go and indoctrinate the children because that's where they take them. They take them when they're young, brainwash them when they're young. Because when they're older, it's much harder to brainwash people. That's how the system works. That's how it has been in the West now for a long time. People, they brainwash the children in school and when they're young through the institutions. And then when they are grown up, they continue to receive their daily dose of brainwashing through the media. And this guy's grandmother is a well-known Marxist in Sweden who was the editor of a newspaper called Kamratposten, which is a newspaper for school children. A newspaper for school children that she edited. It's a Marxist, communist newspaper for school children that was given out in Sweden back in the day. I don't know if it's still given out. I haven't checked it up, but and there you go. By the way, the communist indoctrination of children in Sweden. You have Marxists giving out newspapers to school children, yeah. So this guy is a real communist, and it really exposes as well the kind of communist Marxist connections that the elite of the elite in Sweden has. The elite of the elite in Sweden are Marxists and communists. That's why Sweden is the way it is today. That's why it's been going so far left. Because these guys, this family, this Bonnier family, as I said, is basically the Rothschilds of Sweden. They control so much. They control all of the media. They have so many high influence connections and contacts that you cannot believe. In Sweden they even have special tax rates and for these guys, for the elite in Sweden. That normal guys, they pay an insane amount of tax in Sweden, whereas these elite of the elite, they get a special tax rate because they're buddies with the politicians. It's really corrupt. Yeah, so when you have these guys going after you and revealing your private information, I mean, it's not that big a surprise. I was put on that they don't like me. I mean, I was put on this Swedish government watch list here a couple of months ago, together with other people like Lawrence Sutton, Paul Joseph Watson, Brittany Pettibone, and others. I was put on that list, and I have been, not to brag, but I think I have been doing a lot of work and information to spread to the world, to the international world, about what's actually going on in Sweden. That most people don't even know about. It doesn't come out in the media. Most people don't speak Swedish. They don't know what's going on with all the car fires, the hand grenades being thrown around in Sweden, all the shootings, the rapes, and so on. And I have quite a big international audience. So I managed to spread that news to you guys. And in Sweden, that kind of thing is something the elite don't like. Because in Sweden, they are very concerned about the image that Sweden has. They call it Sverigebilden, they call it in Swedish, the image of Sweden, basically. The politicians and the elite in Sweden are very, very concerned about that. They want Sweden to have a very good image. They're the humanitarian superpower. They are the, these super good communist guys, But it's true, they are really but that's how it works in Soviet countries. They are really concerned about having like a really good, nice image. There's always been like that in communist countries, and Sweden is a communist country. Maybe not by dictatorship, but by stealth. We have these elite people like the Bonnier family who's been going after me, who are communists, Marxists, and they basically have all influence over Sweden that they could want. But yeah, again, you really know you're doing something right when these people are going after you. So if you want to support me, guys, that'd be greatly appreciated, because you know, with today's political climate, with political correctness and SJWs in companies and so on, and my right-wing opinions, I'm basically unemployable now. So I'm going to go flat out now and do this full time, bringing you real independent journalism, real news that the mainstream media don't want you to hear, because they have an agenda. So I'm 100% fan funded now, and if you want to support my work, support what I do, it'd be greatly appreciated. I have my link to my PayPal and Patreon here in the box below. So if you want to help me out, that'd be greatly appreciated. I'm not going to let this doxing by the elite of the elite in Sweden stop me. No, I'm going to go full out, bringing you guys even more truth than ever before. If they think they can intimidate me by doing this, they don't know who they're dealing with. I've now opened up my own website, petersweden.com, where you can sign up to my newsletter and read my articles and find latest information about me. So go and sign up to my newsletter. Don't let anyone censor real news. And yeah, as I said, I'm going to double down, bringing you guys even more truth than ever before. If they think that doxing people works, well, they're wrong. It backfires. That only forces more of us to go and do this full time, bringing people the truth in even more doses than ever before. So make sure to share this video, like it, subscribe if you haven't done so, and I'll see you all guys later.